Before we move on, there's news just coming in this minute from London. What we are learning at this point is a car has crashed into 10 Downing Street, the official residence of the Prime Minister of the UK. Reports saying at this point that one suspect has been arrested so far. This is news that's just come in. We are awaiting further details and piecing together what we know at this point. A car has crashed into the official residence of the Prime Minister of the UK. Now remember, this is coming less than a week after a car crashed near the White House in Washington, D.C. And now you have reports of a crash taking place at 10 Downing Street in the UK. A car collided with the front gates of 10 Downing Street, and a man has been arrested on suspicion of dangerous driving. The London police issued a statement saying, and I'm quoting, at around 4:20 p.m., a car collided with the gates of Downing Street on Whitehall. Armed officers arrested a man at the scene on suspicion of criminal damage and dangerous driving, and there are no reports of any injuries at this point. And what we're also learning at this point is a Reuters witness has said that there was a small vehicle outside the gate with its doors and trunk open, and cordons were in place along Whitehall. Now, Whitehall is the main road running past Downing Street. This is where several government departments are based, so there is high security along this route at almost any given point. At this point, there are no reports of any injuries, and a man has been arrested on suspicion of dangerous driving after this incident has been reported of a car crashing into the front gates of Downing Street in London. This, of course, is a developing story. Very limited details are available at this point. The police officially also releasing a statement just moments ago that we have read out to you, talking about that car colliding with the gates of Downing Street. This is on Whitehall. And armed officers have arrested a man at the scene. As we piece together the latest coming in, this on your screen is a statement from the London police that's come in just moments ago. At around 16:20, that's 4:20 p.m., a car collided with the gates of Downing Street on Whitehall. That, of course, is the main stretch of the road running past Downing Street. That's where several government buildings and departments are based. Armed officers arrested a man at the scene on suspicion of criminal damage and dangerous driving. And as of now, there are no reports of any injuries. And we are awaiting further statements and reactions coming in at this point. But let's just tell you that this is an incident that does raise alarm, also taking place right outside the official residence of the Prime Minister of the UK. This, remember, is a heavily fortified area in the heart of London. One suspect has been arrested as initial inquiries are now underway, and we are going to be getting you the latest that's trickling in at this point. A Reuters witness, in fact, saying that there was a small vehicle right outside the gate with its doors and the trunk open. So as of now, it's hard to say what exactly went down. Just a short while back, right outside 10 Downing Street, the residence of the Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, that's where his office, also his residence is based. London police saying that a man has now been arrested on suspicion of dangerous driving. Navneeta Sarkar, a journalist, is with us on the phone line, speaking to us from London. Thanks very much for being here on WION World is One. If you can just help us understand what we know at this point.
See, it was about 4:20 over here in London when this car just collided. You know, the gates of 10 Downing Street are always closed, but it collided there, and there is heavy police presence, obviously, being 10 Downing Street. And but he was arrested. There were armed officers. There are armed officers always around 10 Downing Street. So even though it's a very crowded road in the sense a lot of buses, public buses and things like that move around, and this is a holiday period. You have a lot of tourists. So must have had quite a few people, and the fact that nobody has been hurt is a good sign, because generally there are tourists hanging onto those gates of 10 Downing Street, peeping inside and, trying to get a view of it. So, but they've arrested him, which is a good thing. And as you know, police here is something, they're the kind of people that will never disclose anything. You can't get any information until and unless they have complete information from the person who's been arrested. Now, they're saying it's dangerous driving, but I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine what else it could have been. But the fact that, the hatch was open or what, or maybe because the hatch suddenly opened and he lost control, I don't know what has happened. So we'll have to wait till the police actually, comes up and tells the media what has happened. But because there are no injuries, so I don't feel that the car was on a very high speed, because that place is surrounded by tourists. So there is no way that people wouldn't have been injured if it was on a very high speed. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that there is nothing too dangerous, because they'll find out what's in the car and whatever happened. But I don't think, maybe in another couple of hours they might just say who the person is or what they'll give a progress, but I don't think we'll get to know very many details right away, because, I don't know what to say, because he seems like an oldish man. He doesn't seem a young guy. He's like a bald guy with glasses on, and T-shirt and jeans and a pair of trainers on, or what I've seen of the picture of the police taking him away.
Right.
So, and it was a silver hatchback car. So, and it's outside. And you know what? Even outside the gates, there's a lot of, temporary barriers put there because of the tourist season, etc. So there are a lot of barriers there. So this is what it is. It is an elderly kind of guy, not a young man.
Right. Navneeta, we are, of course, awaiting further details to be put out by the London police. And as you said, at this point, very limited information is available. But let's just talk about the fact that this has taken place right outside Downing Street. As you're telling us, this is an area which is usually heavily fortified. It does have the presence of a high number of security officials, also a high number of tourists. So like you said, it is difficult to assume that the car was running at a high speed. But a Reuters witness also talking about how there was a small vehicle outside the gate with its doors and trunk open.
Yeah, that's exactly what we've heard, which is what I'm wondering, why would the doors and the hatchback be open?
Right.
And there is actually really no space over there to stop the car and do something. It is completely packed always, with not only tourists on the footpath, there are buses, cars, everything, and protesters around there. So it is generally a buzzing, hugely crowded place. I mean, when there are protests over there, they have to kind of change the route of buses and all for the protests to pass. So it's that busy. So I can't understand why it was stopping. Had it stopped and the hatchback was open? I can't understand, or something. When this doesn't, at the first view of it, doesn't seem like someone with some intention. I think something went wrong with his car or something. I don't know, but I'm no one to say it. It's only after the police tells us what it is.
Absolutely.
Because, so there's always police presence. So there is it's highly unlikely that they can get through those iron gates of 10 Downing Street, the main gate that enters into the 10 Downing Street area. And there are temporary barriers around the whole place in any case, apart from those iron gates and iron fencing.
Along with a number of tourists, security officials. Navneeta, thanks very much for helping us better understand the initial details that are trickling in at this point. For those of you just joining us, this is news that's just come in a few minutes ago from the UK of a car crashing into the front gates of Downing Street in London. That on your screen is the statement that's been put out by London police just a short while back, as we have been getting you the minute-by-minute updates on this fast-developing story. What we do know at this point through the statement put out by the London London police is that this incident took place at 16:20 hours. That's 4:20 p.m. local time in London, when a car collided with the gates of Downing Street. This is on Whitehall, which, by the way, as we were just discussing with Nabanita as well, it's a heavily fortified area, high number of security officials present there, a lot of tourists present there as well. Armed officers then arrested that man at the scene on suspicion of criminal damage and dangerous driving. According to the initial details that have been coming in, a Reuters witness also saying that there was a small vehicle right outside the gate with its doors and trunk open. That, of course, also triggers a number of questions. Cordons were then put in place along Whitehall, which is the main road running past Downing Street. That's where several government departments are based as well. And this is a development that's been reported just a few minutes ago. So very sketchy details, very initial information that's available at this point. But we are awaiting further details to come in from the London police of what exactly went down. At this point, we do know that a man has been arrested on suspicion of criminal damage and dangerous driving, and there are no reports of any injuries after that car collided with the front gates of Downing Street. That is where Rishi Sunak's office and residence is situated, and that man has been arrested on suspicion of dangerous driving. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.